Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi, and today is the day we are talking about the blame game of the American comic book industry as retailers are facing hard reality, no sales, rent's due. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep selling comic books? Or are you going to start selling the Pokemon cards? And a lot of this is kicking up from a retailer who had a video talking about the state of the comics he has to sell and if people, creators specifically, should be writing themselves into the book, self inserts, if you will.
Most of these new writers don't have the love of comics like these older writers had. And all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? No, we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. People grew up, growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving all these Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write Steve Rogers. What would Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers? That's not how it works. But that's again how most of these new people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is shit. Because we don't care what you would do, because we don't care about your life whatsoever. Just write a book, get paid for what you do, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story.
Boy, oh boy, that was spicy. Now, that store owner in particular has over 30 years of experience selling comic books, all right? Some people thought, oh, he's only 30 years old. No, he has 30 years of experience. So it's obviously seen the 90s when the market went crazy with all the Jim Lee's, X-Men and all that stuff, all the way to the recent years, and it's obviously not doing very well for him. Why are retailers getting so mad nowadays? Now, we talked about Phil Boyd and the article that he wrote several weeks ago, where he's saying that he probably has to shut down some stores by the first quarter of 2024, which is not even 2 months from now, right? Think about that. So this here today is another retailer that's saying the same thing. Why are retailers suddenly saying all these? Well, apparently people forget the customer for the direct market when you're selling all these comic books is not your guy on the street reading it. Your customer is the retailer. He's the guy who has to actually go to Diamond and say, yeah, here's a 50% outlay on things that I cannot return if I can't sell. And I'm basically taking all the risk of making sure that your product sells for me. So he's obviously unhappy because returnability on most comics nowadays is pretty much non-existent. So people who try and compare him and say that, oh, how dare you talk badly about your product? People who are selling toys and all that don't talk badly about their products. It's like, well, maybe because they can return unsold stock. This poor guy over here, he can't do anything like that at all. That video obviously got a lot of reactions from the comic pros, the people whom he called out. One of whom is very guilty over here is Jamal Igo. Look at him. Let's read what he has to say about the store owner. Seriously, he reminds me of a few of the old guard guys who used to run shops here in NYC from stores that smell like stale cigarettes, mold, and urine, unclean, sloppily stocked. Those guys either went out of business, died, or both. It goes on, incontinental mothers spent every day smoking cigarettes in the shop, smelling at urine. Boy, this guy's obsessed about pee, isn't he?
All of New York City smells like urine.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm from Singapore. And when I step into New York, I can tell myself, boy, there is this smell in the air that I cannot shake out of my nostrils. Anyway, now Jamal here, this is definitely a hit piece because if you go back and look at the guy's original tweet, Gail Simone actually responded. She said, yeah, I know that store owner. He has a very immaculate store. Basically, the store is pristine, clean, well-stocked. So Jamal here, shame on you for trying to spread lies about a retailer whose viewpoints you do not share. I wonder why does that sound very familiar. Okay, let's look at another creator over here. RenV here says, anyone who describes writing as, you get paid to write the stuff we want, has not a clue what writing is about. I don't know how many times people need to hear it. That is simply not how art or creativity works. Ram, you're paid to write a corporate character, be it Superman, Captain America, Batman, whatsoever. And it's not your creation. You are a custodian for the character. It is your job to make sure that the character does not stray too far from their roots, such that they become unrecognizable to the audience that originally came in for the character for who they were. You change it so much that it doesn't resemble what people came into it for. It's like, what's the point?
Let me take a stab at this. You get paid to write the stuff we want. The reality is, if you're working for Marvel or DC, you're already writing to a clientele. The customer's already there before you. They're not there because of you. They're there for Batman. So yes, you have expectations, certain character traits that people come to expect in the character of Batman, Spider-Man, Steve Rogers, Captain America, whoever. Once you veer from that, once you start putting yourself in there, thinking that somebody's going to be interested in you, RenV, chances are they're going to leave. Now the customer is no longer there. Once they're no longer there, where does the money to hire you? And this is something that the American comic book industry is seeing right now in real time. Comic book shops are talking about closing down, attitudes are flaring up, and certain comic creators are getting defensive that they didn't do anything wrong, that you're part of the problem, the retailer. But here's the thing, without the retailer, who's selling these books?
Well, maybe Barnes & Noble can be convinced to carry the floppies. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's how the mainstream writers get paid, right? They get paid a page rate to work on the floppies. Then they get a royalty on the trades. Maybe we need to go to that model. Let's look at another creator over here. Donny Kats, who has blocked pretty much all of Comicsgate, says, don't you guys hate how when you go into the hardware store, how the guy behind the counter always tells you how much hammers suck? Side note, I absolutely did write myself into a comic and sold like a mother. Beep. So, Donny, like I said earlier, in the hardware store, if inventory doesn't sell, typically the manufacturer takes it back. There's literally no returnability for comic book these days. And the retailer guy over here, you see the cover price on the book, he paid half that just for the privilege of stocking your books in his store. Whether he's able to sell or not, I don't think you care, do you?
I want to take a stab at this. Donny Kats is a goddamn idiot because of this tweet. The guy at the hardware store is usually selling something that's a necessity. Building utilities, hammer, nails. People have to have residence. They have to have things to live in. Comic books, comparing that to it, people do not have to have comic books to live. Comic books are a form of escapism, fun escapism. Writing yourself in there, nobody picks up a comic book to read Donny Kats. To draw a parallel between hardware store and a comic shop, you have no idea of how important comics are or are not to somebody. And therefore, I doubt you understand why people read comics to begin with.
Oh, burn. See, that's the truth. People don't understand that comics is just one of the many forms of entertainment you can find in this world right now. You can go play video games, you can go watch movies, you can go watch 2 million hours of Netflix even. You don't necessarily have to go to comics for entertainment anymore. Not like in the 90s or the 80s. So,
And that's the thing about comics. In my time working in comics, and you'll find you have to make people want comics. People don't have to have comics. And there is a whole generation of comic creators that believe people have to have comics. That this guy right here will not find another hobby. And that is not true. Entertainment, there are plenty of hobbies people can go find. You break the habit. If you make crap comics, you break the habit, they'll go somewhere else.
So let's end this video on the fact that there are still some creators though out there that understand that, yeah, we kind of build this boat. We kind of try to steer it out of the choppy waters now. So Jimmy did try to make a more neutral comment on it. Unfortunately, he had to delete the post because of the bad energy it was bringing. Amazing how some people can't have a civil conversation anymore. I enjoy hearing both sides of argument, but it has to stay polite. And Brett replies, nobody wants to talk about how bad retailers are being crushed anymore. They want to talk about the sales of American comics only accounting for 9% of total sales in North America. Manga, y'all, almost 80% of the entire comics and graphic novel sales is manga.
And the heartbreaking thing, that retailer did not open up and invest most of his life into a comic shop, his working life, 30 years, to sell manga. Okay, that wasn't his goal. He is a guy that's, believe it or not, Donny Kats, Jamal Igo, he's actually on your side. Help him help you sell books. Anyways, if you guys will hit like, subscribe, or ring the bell for notification. Also, Axcend level up $103,210. If you guys will, please go check out this smash hit comic from 9 Lives Comics. I'll leave you guys with the trailer and catch you guys again with another video.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, There is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to accept.